have a special guest today, and let me first talk a little bit about him. His name is Ted Czech. He has written the book Saving the Beast. A recovering reporter reflects on America's broken medium and how to fix it. And there's a trap underneath the beast, and it says fake news. Let me get to hang on, so I can read this. I don't want to miss any bit of it. I need a producer for the show. Here we go. Saving the Beast. A recovering reporter reflects on America's broken media and how to fix it. Paperback. Author Ted Czech. From the Beast, from a newsroom battle cry to the lamentation of reporters under deadline. The Beast, the news, needed nourishment to be satisfied. To do this properly, reporters were guided by principles. At one time, like professionalism and objectivity. But that canon has been cast aside. The food is now tainted, poisonous to the once thriving beast. The beast is dying, I would say dead. Mainstream media and its audience once enjoyed an unspoken covenant. The public expected the media to deliver the news in an unbiased, objective manner. And in return, gave the media its trust, time, money. Over decades, American journalism became unrecognizable. And so the public has responded with frustration, distrust, and downright entity. I probably messed that one up. Can the beast be saved? A news reporter turned media critic Ted Czech explores the issue from its root causes, asking us to consider if the old beast should be resuscitated or instead allowed to perish. While a new beast is bred and nurtured by those the public determines are better equipped to feed it. Let's see. This is about Ted. Who better than a guy who spent 25 years? That's a career. If you get 25 years in a job, that's a career. As a newspaper reporter, and established himself as one of the mainstream media's harshest critics to write a book about the broken relationship between the media and the American public. Makes sense to me, but it took me a while to get to this point. You could say writing is in my blood. My mother was a newspaper reporter and photographer, and before her, my grandmother as well. But I started off on a divergent path, earning a degree in criminal justice. However, once I graduated, I decided law enforcement wasn't for me. So I got a job as a security officer by day and pursued a second degree in journalism by night. I then parlayed my 2 degrees into my first job as a full-time newspaper crime reporter in 1996. 2 years later, I moved from Rhode Island to Pennsylvania, working for 3 different newspapers in the Keystone State, all as a crime and emergency news reporter. Sensing a seismic shift in the craft and industry of journalism, I left newspapers in 2021 and now work in public relations. My first book, Saving the Beast, a recovering reporter reflects on America's broken media and how to fix it, is the accumulation of nearly 2 years of dissecting the conundrum of the media versus the public. It is my hope that readers find it educational and informative, and I already screwed up. You can read that for yourself. Take a screenshot. And entertaining. And so, ladies and gentlemen, let's introduce you to Ted Czech. Ted, good morning. Welcome to Central Florida. You get the golf course right there. You bring your clubs with you?
If only I golfed, Lex. I don't... nothing besides mini golf. That's it for me.
You're like me. I don't like it either. I'm gonna turn you up.
You just like the view.
There we go. Yeah, I try to explain that to some people. They say, "Well, you should golf." I don't want to golf.
You got better things to do.
Yeah, I've been working out, and it's 70, and there's no shade out there, and it's brutal. But I do have a club, and I am going to go to the off to the left there. There's a clubhouse. They have a range, and I'll go hit some when it cools off.
Why not?
All right, so where do we begin?
I mean, wherever you want to take this, Lex. We can start with how I got the idea for the book, or if you want to go back further than that.
Well, I guess I'd like to start. So your family's been in the business, journalism and photography and newspaper. You 21 years as a career. You walked into work one day and what happened? You go, this has changed.
Well, I mean, it wasn't just one day. It was over it was a progression. It was over time, but I would say it was several years before I left. I left in 2021, So if you go back 5 or so years approximately, I just started seeing all the frustration and actually, you know, like I said, enmity, downright hatred for journalists. You know, I would see all the comments on Facebook. And then another significant thing happened in my at the newsroom where I was working, was that I was told that I couldn't use mugshots anymore of suspects. And
this is coming from management.
Yes.
Okay.
And I thought to myself, wait a minute, we can't publicly shame people anymore. I mean, that's like part of the fun. It certainly isn't the money. That's not why I got into journalism. No, but I mean, to be serious, I mean,
don't we want a law and order society? You know,
right. So the way I see it is that you know, people have a right to know these things. Journalists have a duty to inform the public, and the public has a right to know. And so that when I was informed about that, that kind of went against my principles and everything I was taught in journalism school, which was you know, the mid 90s, the early to mid 90s when I was in school. And so I had also noticed, speaking of J school, journalism school, I had noticed a change in the way that journalism was being taught. So that, you know, that's where all the young skulls full of mush start. You know, they get their start.
So what crept into the tent? What got its nose into the tent? Activism?
Right. Yeah, I call it activism. It goes by many names. It's kind of all the same thing. It's activism journalism, or solidarity journalism, or advocacy journalism. But it's where you're actually encouraged to pick a side. And how do you do that? Well, you know, you are anointed as the moral authority, as the reporter. You know, you somehow bestowed this moral authority, and so then you pick the side and you tell your audience how and what to think. So you're basically throwing critical thinking out the window. And you're basically telling the American public, you're too stupid. You're not smart enough to think for yourselves.
And management, are they going to accept what side you decide to get on?
Well, I guess, I mean, because I didn't really see this play out so much where I worked, but this is everything that I'm learning about the way that it's being taught now. You know, that it's I'm, you know, what can we say except that it's left leaning. It's left leaning. That's for sure. Well,
very interesting, and I think today, in my own case, I've just totally I don't believe anything now. I don't know when it began, the turning of it, but I think it all ended, that debate, when Biden came out and the guy was not there, and they've been telling us he was fine this whole time. It was all oh my God, from that point on.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, well, in my book, I trace it back, but it's had a cumulative effect. But I mean, you can even look at President Obama and where he just had gotten into office, and he said that there was that incident with the journalism, or not even journalism professor, but he was a professor, and the cop. It was a domestic incident.
Oh, at the window, or trying to get into his house or something.
Well, and then he said
his own home. But
he said, this was very early in his presidency, and his first term, and he said, I thought police acted stupidly. And then he had the beer summit at the White House. You know, he said, oh, come on, it's a teachable moment. You know, I mean, even then, you could see him trying to influence the news right there with that statement. Why did he feel the need to weigh in on, you know, what would be typically a minor incident for police to respond to?
And my memory's not that good.
Not that they're right in any way, shape, or form. I'm totally against anything like that. But domestics happen. Unfortunately, police respond to a lot of them. So this would be a run-of-the-mill case for them. But yet it was elevated to national and possibly international news.
And weren't a lot of police officers being shot during that time? It seemed like.
I believe so. There were a couple of waves of that happening, and one was the George Floyd, you know, that whole incident. But years prior to that, there was another period of time, and you might be right about that the time frame there.
And I think I also remember, like at the White House, somebody tried to ask him a tough question. The other reporters jumped on him, the reporter, for asking a tough question. So it's so one-sided now. There's no objectivity anymore. It's gone.
So Timmy's asking what part of PA. So the York Daily Record was one newspaper, and also the York Dispatch, and then prior to those two, the Public Opinion, which is in Chambersburg. It's all south central Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So
well, congratulations to you if you made a transition, if you changed careers, because 21 years is a long time.
25.
25. Yeah. That's a career.
Yeah, so I left 3.5 years ago and never looked back, but actually looked back in a sense that I felt the need to write this book.
And I think if you just look at the numbers of people, the newsrooms are in trouble, CNN lays off people, newspapers close, ESPN is suffering because they tried to get involved in how we should think and what should be important to us.
Right.
So
right. We're seeing this as I had said, and I think it was in my bio, that's kind of a seismic shift, paradigm shift, you want to call it, where people are taking their time and their money, and they're turning away from the mainstream media, and they're taking it elsewhere to independent news and citizen journalism, independent journalism, and so then you see this vicious cycle happen where the mainstream media is hemorrhaging viewers and readers, so therefore they're losing money. And from that, they have to lay off people. And from that, the product suffers. And from that, they continue to lose money and lose viewers.
But they don't care. So where's the money coming from?
Yeah, see that? I liken it to a drug addict, where a drug addict has to hit rock bottom first and realize, you can do all the interventions you want, but a drug addict has to realize, you know what, I'm the problem. And I'm the only one that can get myself out of this problem. And I don't know that mainstream media has gotten to that point just yet, and it all boils down to money. Apparently, they haven't lost enough money. I guess
that's wild. I mean, that is just so it can't be fixed. You said, and how to fix it?
No. Okay. So the kind of the premise is, if the mainstream media really, really wanted to, if they had that rock bottom moment. And realized, you know what, I'm the problem and only I can change it. What do? I want to change it. The first thing I say is to apologize. And maybe that sounds a little hokey, but America loves a comeback. We all know that. We love the comeback.
Right. Well, that's true.
Here in America, number one. Number two, if you're contrite, the American public will forgive you. So you can talk the talk, but you need to walk the walk. So apologizing for decades of deception is one thing, and then you have to execute a new plan. You have to put it into practice that you are not going back, that you're not going to do the thing that you're starting.
I don't know if they're ready. That Trump incident where he won't go on 60 Minutes because they won't apologize. Because they were absolutely wrong, and he just wants an apology.
Right. And that's only that was thought last week. Well, we'll see. Unless they've responded since then and said, no, screw you, we're not going to apologize.
Yeah. Let me. I'm going to play one clip, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
On Trump, because he was actually talking to the media. It's entitled. Let's see, I have it here somewhere.
Oh yeah, this is interesting because I didn't. You mentioned this to me and I had not seen this.
Let me find it. Country needs you so badly. He was, but it's 4 minutes? But I'd like to hear your comments when it's done. Here it is.
Well, I think it's terrible what they've done. They've weaponized government to an extent that's nobody's ever seen before. It's done in third world countries, banana republics. But I mean, like as an example, they said, the documents case. Well, he was guilty. They basically said he's guilty, but he's incompetent. He's allowed to be president, but he's not allowed to go to court. It was a strange ruling. But I was exonerated from my case. That was a big case, as you know. Down in Florida, we had I don't know the judge, but a brilliant judge, totally brilliant judge. And I was exonerated and fully exonerated. And I can only say this, that, when I stand here and I watch the questions being asked by people that are somewhat hostile, many people that are fair. I mean, you have a lot of different talent, a lot of different talents in this room. I was just thinking to myself, I really, all I want to see is fairness. Our country needs you so badly. The media, you're like the policemen and women of the world. You're so important. You keep politicians honest. You keep politicians from doing really bad things. You're so important. And it's so important that the media be fair and really improve, because I watch how unfair it is and how one-sided it is. And you need the media to really buck up in this country, because nobody's ever seen anything like it. And I can tell you, I don't want any favors. I just want fairness. I want like a level playing field. And if we can get the media back to a level playing field, that's going to do a lot for the good of our country, because we have to make a comeback. Our country is a failing nation. This is a failing nation. We're failing at the borders. We're failing at everything we're doing. You look at the numbers. We lost $2 trillion this year. $2 trillion. You know, people don't report that. Our country, we have a deficit of $2 trillion. It was never a deficit in the history of the world like that. And one of the reasons I'm going to bring Elon Musk in to negotiate a lot of that. He's very good at it, and he's a great guy, and he loves the country. He really loves the country. It's not easy for him to do an endorsement. You know, he endorsed me. But, Brian, I would say it's not easy for him to do an endorsement, right? He's got a lot of different factions, a lot of different sides. But he wants to save the country. And, you know, I tell you the airplane story. I could tell you 20 other stories just like it. We have to be a lot different. We have to run a lot different. We are a failing nation, but we're not going to be a failing nation for long, I predict. I hope we're going to have a great victory, a big victory, and then we're going to straighten out our country. We're going to seal up our borders, and we're going to let a lot of people into our country, but they're going to come in legally. We had Remain in Mexico, and for some reason he voided that immediately, and she did. I guess she did, because she was in charge of the border. And I hate to see that when somebody was so bad at the border and then tries to pretend like she wasn't even involved. This was the worst border in the history of the world, not here, the history of the world. There's never been a border like that. I always say third world countries would have used sticks and stones to keep people out if that happened to them. There's never been anything like it. And the press doesn't want to report about it, and they've got to report about it. It's a big story. To me, it's the biggest story. When you allow 13,000 murderers into our country, and they're free to kill, they're free to kill. These are people that are rough, tough, horrible people. It's not going to be a positive thing. When you allow thousands of terrorists from very tough countries into our country, they're here. We don't even know who they are. We know they're terrorists, and we know something about some of them, but generally we don't. But we know there are thousands of terrorists let into our country. Drug dealers are in our country at levels we've never seen before. We're really, we're a very sick country, but we're going to figure it out, and we're going to get it fixed.
So, Ted, do you think journalists love the country as founded?
Do I think that journalists love it? Oh, you know what? Something happened to my my camera, Lex. Do you? Well, let me click Start Cam. See if that. Oh, there you go.
You're back.
That was weird. It knocked me off for a second there. So, do I think the journalists is that the question? Do journalists
right, because Trump obviously loves the country. He wants the country to succeed, but it seems the journalists, in my view, are in love of their version of what it should be. The activism. They think it can be in their image, what they want.
There seems to be, I would agree with that. There seems to be quite a few, maybe not necessarily all of them, but there seems to be quite a few that want to shape it and
I think even Obama said one time, you got to break it to fix it. Mm-hmm. So there you go. I mean, how many people you got to hurt to do that? 300.
But that clip, I love that clip. He's absolutely right. That
he's pleading with him. He's basically pleading with him. Hey, come on, the country needs you.
And how come that didn't get any?
Oh no. He's. I turned on. There was a video on MSNBC, and the guy is using the Hitler term once again, and he's got to be, harmed. And I'm like, I can't watch it.
Right. So I think a lot of people just have that one image of him where he's battling with the media. He's arguing with Jim Acosta and you are fake news, and all that. And so they get this. People get this idea that he actually detests the news, and that's
like he initiated this combativeness.
What's that?
In other words, Trump is somewhat responsible for the combativeness.
I think that some people believe that. Sure. The way that I put it in my book is that he's the only one. He was the first person to take it to the media. He actually.
I loved it. I used to watch every one of those. I loved it. I ate it up.
Right. He went toe to toe with them, and the media were shocked. They were like, "Who the hell is this guy to do this to us?"
I loved it.
You know, holy crap! He's giving it back to us, but nobody does that.
No.
You know.
Yeah, and they think they can pick the presidents. They're in charge because they got rid of they're part of the team.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to win. And it's like I think everybody sees it now. Many people, a lot more, let's say, not everybody, but a lot more, I think, have opened their eyes.
But yeah, I think that's a brilliant clip, and it's a shame that it didn't get more coverage. I think it's just indicative of where the press is right now.
Yeah, journalism. Hey, there's 13,000 murders led in the country. Do you think you might report it? Or don't you care about Americans getting killed? I guess not.
Well, because it goes against their narrative, their agenda. So. And
then here's Biden. We got to do politics. Here's Biden. He was unelectable after that debate. So next. Okay, Kamala, it's your turn. She never won a presidential primary. They put her in there.
Right. Well, if you want to talk about that, her strategy is not to be interviewed
at all. Nothing.
Well, she's done two, but they've been sterilized. Is the way that I put it. Yeah. They're not live. They're chopped up. They're edited. She's never done like what Trump does. He does a free for all. Where you can ask him anything.
What do you got? Any question? What do you got?
Yeah, he'll take anything. She apparently, it sounds like she's going to continue to do that for another 30 days. Until the election. It doesn't seem that there's. And I guess Waltz is going on, or what was he on already this morning? Fox. He was on Fox.
I can't watch him either. I can't listen. I used to watch those shows. I remember Face the Nation, Meet the Press, Fox News Sunday. Back in the day, I used to watch. Now it's a couple of years ago. It's gone.
Meet the Depressed.
Meet the Depressed, right? And I remember when CNN was a news station. Now. It was like Trump could have done this. Trump may have done this. Trump could have, what? This is not news.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You wanted to talk about the CNN paywall that they're putting up.
Oh yeah, because that's when I first got attention to you. Because because the new media I didn't really cover, but I was going in, and then you came up, and I thought, I got to get hold of this guy. Yeah, let's hear about that. Paywall.
Yeah. So a paywall, for those who don't know, I think a lot of people do, but for those who don't. Is it's like a virtual wall that you can't get through or over or around unless you pay. So essentially a subscription,
right? A
subscription. So they try. I think it's going to fail, and I think you do too, Lex. They tried the streaming service, CNN Plus, that failed. Their website is the #1 news website, at least here in America. So. I mean, if
you think it'd be a no-brainer, it should sell, right?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of, flabbergasted or flummoxed that they can't make that CNN.com work for them. You mean to tell me they can't harness the power of advertising because they've got the largest news audience in the United States. They can't somehow make money for them. I don't get it.
Here's how they fix it: improve the product, and they're not willing to do that.
There you go.
It's dog shit that they want to wrap up or put it behind a paywall, and Americans, they're not going to have it.
And they were on the right track with the Trump town hall, and then they didn't capitalize on that. They went backwards.
Oh, was that actually pretty fair treatment of Trump in that?
Well. Just the fact that they had him on, that they gave him such airtime.
Yeah.
They gave him like over an hour, and he was battling there with Caitlin Clark. She adopted the whole tough girl persona, and she's going to take it to him and stuff like that. And that's what did he say? You are a nasty person, which went around the world. I mean that was absolutely viral for that. You know what I mean? So he had some real zingers in there, and then once they did that, then they took CNN. Chris Leaked, I think is how you pronounce it, or Lich. He was the head honcho at the time. He took some serious heat, like from his own people, for
having Trump on.
Christian Amanpour, who unfortunately went to URI just like I did, University of Rhode Island. I don't know how she operates the way she does, because that's not the way that she was taught. I can tell you.
Yeah.
She was there before I was. I graduated in '97. She was there before I was, so I know that's not the way that she was taught, because it certainly wasn't the way I was taught. But anyway.
Well, and now Trump has to go on Dr. Phil. And who else did he go with? Dave Ramsey, and I think he's using the new media platform very well. He's using X. And,
absolutely, yeah. No, he's doing great with that. That's what I would have done. I mean, who am I? But that's it's a great strategy. Do the free for alls. Do the open questions, and then get on the podcasts, all the major ones. Tucker Carlson, and
of course
I think Joe Rogan should have him on. I don't know why Joe Rogan won't.
DOXX Report will have him on. But
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
That'll never happen.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's too bad. But I don't think they ever give up, because once let's say he wins, then it's back. They're gonna put him under the microscope. They deport 1,000 murderers, and they're gonna take the family that got deported. That's the story they'll play.
Well, I think secretly the mainstream media actually wants Trump to win, because Trump is money. If you cover Trump, you make more money. I mean, he gets more views. So so deep down inside, they really want him to win.
But why do we have to go through this where, okay, we get the wall, we have a good economy, we can build up the military, then they come in, it's all gone. It's all reversed. Now he's got to build it back. At some point, we're not going to be able to get it back, because they don't give up. They don't go away.
Yeah, we're just in a polarized society right now. Everybody online goes to their echo chamber. Everybody will go. You just want to hear what you believe repeated back to you, and then you feel better about it. You feel more stronger in your convictions. You know what I mean? There's very few media entities that play it right down the middle, like it used to be, like in the days of Walter Cronkite.
But what happened to common sense? Don't you need a strong private economy to help the public sector? You can't put everybody in the public sector, because it's just those spending bills just get spent, and they call it stimulus, but nothing gets built.
What's the quote from one of the Batman movies? Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
Scary. Apparently, some people just want a dystopia. I don't get that. Can't fathom it.
Yeah, and don't they have kids? Don't they? What kind of America? This is a great experiment. Is it going to end, and we're just going to be subjects like everybody else?
Oh boy. Yeah.
Are we there yet?
I certainly hope not. I don't know. I'm a glasses half full kind of guy.
Right.
That's just me. I'm an optimist. So that's why I say the media can be fixed, but they've got to be a part of it. They've got to want to be fixed.
And I sometimes wonder, what about foreign government money? Maybe who owns these companies? These are global corporations. And then if they sell out, and if certain other countries get a hold of them, I mean, maybe they're the ones that funding it. You don't have to go to war. You just get inside some. You open the borders. You get the right people in office. They just let people come in, hit teams come in, and just.
Well, we've got the Chinese that are buying up farmland near military installations. That's another thing that hasn't really been covered the way it.
Oh, they're not going to talk about that, because they think we're the problem. A strong America is the problem in the world. I think a lot. They're leftists. They're all progressive Democrats or commies or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, working in the newsrooms for 25 years. Yeah, I felt like the odd man out. I really did. I wasn't very vocal with the way that I thought. Just in very few.
You want to keep your job too, I would imagine.
Yeah, but I mean, see, the thing is, as a professional, you take off if you're covering a straight news story. If you're not writing an opinion column, that's where your opinions can go and into the columns, the op-eds. the editorials. But if you're writing a regular news story, whether it's a feature or a breaking news or whatever, you put on your professional hat. You take off your opinion hat and you put on your professional hat, and you write the story, and you lay everything out there for people, and you let them decide. You say, hey, look, here's everything that I know. Here's everything that's available right now, and we'll keep you updated, but here's everything we know, and lay it all out there for people, and then let them decide. Let them, be the jumping off point for people if they want to conduct their own further research.
Now I'm forced to go on. I have to go online to places where I trust to look things up, or directly to the websites, to find out what's going on. Right.
When it used to be, you sit down with your family at dinner and you watch the news and you trusted it,
Right.
And maybe we blindly trusted it, and maybe we're, now we've had this epiphany, and maybe the silver lining is, now we
maybe they've been defeated. That'll be a tough one. I think that Biden debate, because just before that, he's sharp as a tack. Oh, he's great. Oh, he's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And then he shows up. This guy doesn't have a clue. And then you wonder who's telling him. He's just signing what's in front of him, and he's being told what to say.
Right. So who's really running the country?
Who's really Dr. Jill, or is it something else? Somebody else?
Well, there was that photo of her leading some kind of cabinet meeting recently. It was like within the last couple of weeks. I thought that was very odd.
Yeah.
I thought that was bizarre.
I have to, let me find a website here for a second. Because I gotta set this up. Give me just a minute, because there's something else I'd like to play for you. I'm going to present, share screen. Okay. So, unless I don't want to forget them. So there's this FEMA, we got this hurricane coming into Florida, and FEMA doesn't have any money.
Yeah.
And it went to the illegal. So let's I'm going to play two clips, and then I'm going to play Karine Jean-Pierre. So let's start, and these are short clips. So no money. Here's Trump.
FEMA now is saying, Alexandria Mayorkas, they don't have enough money for any additional hurricanes. We all thought they were chock full of money. That money's been given away to illegal immigrants, almost one by one. I don't understand this. This is a perversion of policy.
So you don't understand it because it's not understandable.
I still don't get it.
In all fairness, it's not understandable. So we now have no money that was supposed to be used for tragedy, for hurricanes. And this was a tragic hurricane. This was maybe the worst hurricane we've ever had. And he's got no money. And we said, what happened to all the money? They were given billions for this. He spent it on illegal migrants coming into the country, a big percentage of which are murderers. I don't know if you saw 13,099 murderers.
Okay, one more here. What do you got there? Saving the Beast, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's well, they can see it elsewhere, right? The cover of the book.
Right. Well, I'm not only that. I'm going to pin the Amazon link to it in the comments afterwards. So if they happen to see this and they go to the comments, they can go right to the book.
Yeah, and maybe Lex, when you're done with those clips, we can just go over the third part of the book, which is Reckoning, which is where I talk about how to fix things.
Okay. First of all, you got to any like AA or abuse program, you have to admit you have a problem. I don't think they do that. We're the ones with the problem because we don't get it. We're supposed to be on their side, but we'll do that. So
sure, yeah.
Let's do They Stole It. Let's just admit it.
And the people in North Carolina and South Carolina and Georgia and Florida, Virginia, Tennessee, there's no money for them. Yeah. But they're giving people, how about where they let them come in and stay in hotels, and our veterans are sleeping outside of the main door to the hotel. And they're watching migrants go into a hotel and sleep in a suite, and they're sitting on the sidewalk, and our veterans, they're our great veterans. This is the worst administration. Let me tell you, if they were modestly good, I wouldn't have even run. This is the worst administration.
They spent this emergency money on illegal.
They stole it. They stole it.
This is also perversion of what the congressional authority was.
And they're trying to get those people to vote, Larry. They're trying to get those people to vote, just so you understand. They're trying to get them on the voter rolls. They want to put them on the Social Security rolls, which will destroy Social Security. This is the worst president in history. This is the worst administration in history. And she's worse than him. And actually, it's going to be hard to say this because he's pretty bad. She's actually less bright than he is. She has no clue what the hell she's doing. That's why she never does an interview. She never does a press conference, because she can't talk.
Now, so let's now go to the White House spokesman who is going to set the record straight about these this false narrative. Here she is, ladies and gentlemen, Karine Jean-Pierre.
Former President Trump is accusing the Biden administration of using FEMA funding to support undocumented migrants. How is the White House responding to that?
I mean, it's just categorically false. It is not true. It is a false statement. And look, the fact of the matter is, I think Washington Post fact checker did a piece, and the headline recently, just moments ago, not too long ago, and the headline was, "No, Biden did not take FEMA relief money to use on migrants, but Trump did."
Now, so she uses the Washington Post for her source.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. You have to consider the source. I mean, I think most would say that that's a left-leaning media outlet.
And all she had to do is go to the FEMA website, which I have right here. And if you read that, Shelter and Services Program, there it is, FEMA, Shelter and Services Program. The Shelter and Services Program is administered by FEMA in partnership with U.S. Customs and Border Protection, provides financial support to non-federal entities to provide humanitarian services to non-citizen migrants. So it's on their own website. But she'd rather go to the Washington Post and perpetuate. They're more interested in the narrative, their own narrative that you have to believe. No, you believe this. Don't believe him. Don't believe Trump. But it's on their website. But go ahead.
So about that, consider the source, for sure, and then.
And that room is filled with reporters, of journalists, quote, journalists, unquote, in that room.
Right.
And then
she's
pushes
quoting
back.
one of their own. I mean, with a few exceptions there, Fox News and maybe a couple others. But she's quoting one of their own. So they're like, oh, okay, well then, Washington Post says it, so it must be true. But I would like to read that. I haven't read that story, but I would like to read the story and see who that, the writer, who the writer is quoting, or what the sources are for that writer.
So you want to hold up the book and let me put you full screen here. There it is, Saving the Beast on Amazon.
Yeah, it doesn't have this band on it. That's because this is a promo copy.
Okay.
But yeah, I just wanted to quickly read through the titles of the chapters in the third section of the book. I called it Reckoning, which is the section where I talk about how to fix things.
Okay.
So the first thing is mea culpas. So what we talked about before about the media has to apologize and they have to mean it and adopt a new way of conducting themselves. True journalism, what I call true journalism, objectivity, fairness, professionalism. I also talk about we need more whistleblowers. There was a guy that it was a few months ago. He was an NPR editor, and he came forward and he said, NPR is not what it used to be. It used to be, somewhat fair, and they just went off the deep end, totally to the left, and he couldn't handle it anymore. And so then they suspended him for a week, and then he was like, well, okay, fine.
Now his career is over.
I see where this is going, so I'm just going to leave.
Yeah, and now he's destroyed, and then they destroyed.
He knew that it was career suicide, but I mean, it depends. I mean,
well, good for him. He stood up for the truth.
Right. So then another chapter is teach journalism the right way. So what we were talking about before.
In the colleges, in the universities.
Right. We need to get rid of the whole activism journalism thing.
These are tenured professors, though, see. And they're not interested in a strong America either. But go ahead.
Resist focusing on race. So
excuse me, focusing on
race.
Race?
Black, white, Hispanic, Asian. So there's really no need to say white cop shoots black man. There's no need for that. You never hear the reverse.
Yes, there is a need for it, because to conquer you must divide.
I'm saying in true journalism, in the spirit
I know.
in the pursuit of true journalism, there's no need to do that. You never hear
Right.
Asian cop shoots Hispanic man. You'd never hear that.
No.
There's no need for it whatsoever. I mean, even Morgan Freeman, you remember the famous.
Oh,
interview?
he's great. Yeah, I've heard
He says,
what he.
you stop calling me a black man, I'll stop calling you a white man, and we're just gonna.
We'll get along fine.
Yeah. Anyway, no donations. I talk about no donations, and when you receive money, whether it's from the federal government or from other entities, that you create.
You mean the corporations, the nonprofits?
Anybody, yeah, because Gannett was going to get money from the federal government at one point, but I don't think it actually, and other. I'm not just singling out Gannett. They were going to get money from the federal government, and when you do that, well, are you going to ever see a negative story about the federal government in any of those newspapers? I mean,
Right.
Even if that doesn't turn out to be true, it creates that. It creates the question, and you don't want a question of impropriety.
Yes.
Continue covering local news. See what I saw, because I worked for a mid-sized newspaper. I saw the death of local news, and that's your bread and butter. When you've got a mid-sized to small newspaper, that's your bread and butter is local news. But if it's a mid-sized paper and it's part of a chain, then it's going to carry a lot of wire news. But local people don't want to read wire news. They want to read what's going on in their backyard. That's what they care about. They want reporters to go to the local meetings, the school board meeting and the council meetings and stuff like that. That's what they want. So we need to get back to local news. And how do we do that? We need local owners.
Right.
An owner who has the money, but is tied to wherever he or she lives, has a deep down, love for where they are, and they want to see local news thrive. So they need to buy the local newspaper off of somebody like Gannett, which I've heard is jettisoning.
Well, you know what they're doing today? The locals are doing the Facebook groups. That's their news source now for the community. They just go to their Facebook page.
Yeah, and I've seen it, blossom online as well with there's a news source in where is it? Lancaster County, I believe it is.
If they become, if the word of mouth and they're trusted.
No, it's Lebanon. Excuse me, Lebanon, Pennsylvania, where it's just this guy that started up this website.
Good for him.
And it's thriving because the local newspaper was down to like one or two reporters, so that's not enough to generate any sort of
integrity. Bring back integrity.
Viable news. Cover crime the way it should be covered. So what I saw, when we talked about this a little bit at the beginning of the broadcast here, was not using mug shots, and then I was told, oh, we want more issue-oriented stories. We don't want you to cover like the armed robberies and the shootings and all that. And I'm like, that's what people have a right to know about. They want to know that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's called situational awareness, but they don't have any concept of that. I also talk about having business people run the business of newspapers, because what I saw was you start off as a reporter and then somehow, you curry favor and you jump up the ladder until you're in the corporate structure, but you're a reporter. No, you got to have somebody who, I'm not necessarily talking about somebody who's got an MBA, but somebody who has business acumen, business savvy.
Right.
Those are the people that need to run the business of newspapers and TV as well. And then say goodbye to AI. We can't have AI. We can't be using AI to generate stories. That's terrible. Nothing can replace human.
Can you help me on that? As a reporter, artificial intelligence, in other words, they're Googling their stories? What do you mean?
No. If you remember what happened to Sports Illustrated, they created fake personas, and let me see if I can find
fake reporters.
Fake reporters, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, even like there was a. Let's see here. There was a basketball player. Okay. Former NBA player Brandon, I'm going to read if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Such was the case. Former NBA player Brandon Hunter, who at 42 died suddenly during a hot yoga workout. And that's another question. But in Orlando, Florida, the headline of an MSN So MSN, Microsoft News, story about Hunter's passing called him useless at 42. This is an AI-generated story. Called him useless at 42, and also referred to him as an NBA participant who, quote, has handed away on the age of 42, handed away, and performed in 67 video games. No, he performed in 67 NBA games. Like, it got all that wrong.
Doesn't an editor look at it before it goes out?
Well,
there's no editor? Not in that case.
See, and then we've got in 2023, British daily The Guardian announced to its readers that it would start using AI in its journalism practices, calling the program exciting but unreliable. Yet still, they're going to do it. Yeah. So if they generate a story by AI,
they're destroying their own product. Nobody's going to care. They're destroying themselves.
But the thinking is, well, we're going to save money, so it's going to be great. Yeah. No, it's not.
It's not going to be great. It's just further digging a deeper hole.
So, hey, I just want to, Lex, I want to answer a question here.
Go ahead.
Gamper.
Let me display it. Unless it's which one do you want?
Well, Gampers.
Right, but what's his comment?
Best one and done, Ted. I guess I'm first asking what does he mean by that?
I have no clue.
Best one and done.
I have no clue. What about NPR's entirely captured media?
Well, I mean, they do. Who is Ted? They'll have to watch.
Come on, Pasta, be nice.
I wrote this. That's
he wrote a book. He's an ex-reporter, a journalist for 25 years.
Yeah, I got it. Google me, bitch. I'm kidding.
He's from Pennsylvania too. Pasta's in Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's cool. No, I'm totally kidding. But yeah, NPR is entirely captured media. I do talk about NPR here in the book and how they receive money from the federal government. So that's under where is that? No donations. Chapter 22 is no donations. Right. So I'm saying that can't happen anymore.
But boy,
but it is national public radio, so it's possible that we need to do away with it entirely.
Yes. It should be able to be a viable entity on its own.
Hey, Pasta. Remember, I said I'm kidding. It's a phrase. Remember, the phrase was popular one time on the internet. Google me, bitch. That was a phrase that got really popular. So that's all. I didn't mean that to you personally.
But these I don't know if the corporations can change, but the journalists or the agencies that there's a problem. But they have to regain the trust. I don't know if that's going to happen again. I think there's been such a seismic shift to online platforms that these big, even ABC News and NBC News, they're on YouTube now. But I don't go over there.
Right. So Gampers is saying my editors, insisted on no mugshots for a reason because they too have been captured by leftist interests. Well, it's hard to argue that point. It is. And it's all explained right here in the book.
It's in the book, and it's Amazon. It's not that it's here it is. No,
not that long. It's 254 pages. I'm told it's a quick read, quick and exciting.
Saving the Beast. There it is.
Yeah,
and it's on Amazon. I'll put the link in when we're done.
Lex, maybe if I could explain about the title, and then I probably should jump off.
Okay.
So Saving the Beast. The phrase "feed the beast," you got to feed the beast. That is a phrase in journalism. We used to say that in the newsroom. So the beast being journalism itself. I mean, it actually was never. The beast was never exactly defined. It could mean your readership or your viewership or your editors. It's right. But I look at it as journalism, as the craft of journalism and the industry of journalism. So it needs saving because, it has itself. It's created this erosion between itself and the American.
Who do you think is most responsible? You think the Clintons aren't they the ones that really?
I mean, I don't know if when I trace it, I don't get really too political with it. I trace it back to a lot of the that the newspapers didn't vet their reporters. Because in the first one was well, there's a number of them, and I go through them here. They didn't vet their reporters very, very well. Janet Cook, excuse me, was the first one, where she concocted this entire story that won her the Pulitzer Prize.
Oh my God.
Jimmy's World. And so that was an 8-year-old heroin addict, I guess, in the DC area. Total fabrication. So it goes on from there. But I'm
going to have to get the Kindle edition.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I also look at the 24-hour news cycle, that people just constantly need any little nugget of news.
Well, CNN was pretty good when they first came out, 24/7, 24 hours news. But it was news. It was real news. Live coverage.
Oh, Pasta says, let me on, I'm pissed.
No, we don't want Pasta.
Oh, okay.
He can come on at another time. I'll let him on.
Oh, because I said Google me, bitch, and he's angry about that?
I don't know what his thing is. He's usually very polite.
Oh.
So,
well,
and the plus, I want to get another guest on at some point. I can't have a guest on and then have battling with the commenters.
Oh, all right. Here's AD Never Calling says, sometimes a quality guest can thwart our relentless trolling. Good show, docs. Need more of these guests. Oh, okay. So there you go.
There you go.
There's something positive.
I'll go through the comments when you drop off. But hey, if I get the Kindle edition, can I do clips? Can I grab stuff and put up here?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are your plans on Sunday? Well, you did 54 minutes. That's pretty good. Thank you.
Yeah. So then just real quick. So the Beast. We see, physical representation of the Beast as a kind of a werewolf, and then the trap down here, and it's being trapped by fake news, so it needs to be saved from that. So that was
Trump brought that up to popularity, right?
In the book I talk about it in the book, but he's not the person that's credited with necessarily coming up with that phrase, but he definitely popularized it for sure.
Yeah. Oh, they hated that. Oh, you couldn't say that on platforms. They hated that because it was accurate.
Yeah. So Pasta. Apologies. That's just a turn. It's just a phrase that people use on the internet. Google me, bitch. That wasn't directed necessarily towards you because you said, who is Ted? So,
Well,
talk me like a man.
A lot of these people will come on and then they'll go, well, what's going on? Well, we were an hour into the show.
Yeah. So they got to rewind. But then somebody was asking about a link.
Let me let's see where it is. Let's see. Well, what he means is he wants a link to the show and then he wants to come on the show and confront you. I don't do that.
Yeah, no. But anyway, so I should probably get going. Probably gonna hit the gym pretty soon, and it's a beautiful day outside, so get some fresh air.
I'm glad. Thank you for coming on and accepting the invitation, and it was very informative. And I'm going to get the book and I'll put the link in. And
nice.
Thank you.
And you'll have to send me this so I can throw it on my channel because I'm on YouTube as well.
Okay.
Or maybe I can I might be able to just grab it off of here. I think we talked about that before. So
yeah, or I could actually send you an MP4 file too. But you can just put a link on your channel. They can come over here or vice versa. I've got you in my community channels of interest on my homepage. And then guess what? Pasta's going to come over there. he's gonna be in your chat.
Yeah, that's fine. That's all good. Well, thanks so much, Lex. I really appreciate it.
You're
great.
Thank you for coming on.
All right.
You have a great Sunday, great week.
You too.
Okay.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ladies and